Let's go. Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Freddie Coleman is in the building looking very handsome. I love the all blue. Always good to see you. I'm going to keep the pleasantries tight because I know my man is all business today. That would be Stephen A. Stephen A., good day. Guys, let's get it. You saw the sound. That was Stephen A. yesterday. Not impressed with Russell Westbrook putting up 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 21 assists in a triple-double. Just the third triple-double in NBA history with 30 points and 20 assists. Joining who? Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson. Great company to be in. So Westbrook not feeling Stephen A.'s comments, posting a lengthy response, which read in part, quote, "A championship don't change my life. I'm happy. I was a champion once I made it to the NBA. I grew up in the streets. I'm a champion. My legacy is not based on what I do on this court. It's about how many people I'm able to impact. It's very important that you don't let the negativity seep in. It's been like that my whole career. No other player takes the heat that I constantly take." And this is an abbreviated version. It was a little bit longer, his statement there on social media. Stephen A. Yeah.
You know, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep. I got you. You're good.
Let me be very, very clear. I'm glad I'm into work today. I took my second COVID shot last night. Feeling a little under the weather about that, but it's all right. I'm here. It wasn't just Russell Westbrook that commented. It was his wonderful wife. I believe her name is Nina, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
I first want to respond to some of the things that she had to say, because she had some jabs to throw in my direction. Let me say to Miss Nina Westbrook, by all accounts, a wonderful woman. Nothing changes that. I appreciate her comments more than she realizes. If anybody's expecting me to go at the wife of an NBA player, if you talk about somebody being absolutely defenseless, I'm not going after anybody's wife, anybody's family members, anybody's mamas, or anybody like that. I'm not doing anything like that. I respect them all, and I respect her. And I want to applaud her, because guess what? If I get married someday, I'd want my wife to come to my defense like that. My lady, I'd want her to come to my defense like that. I don't care who it is. So I applaud her coming to the defense of her husband. And for anybody out there that thinks that I have a problem with her based on what she said in defense of her husband, I do not. I have nothing but respect for her. She was a basketball player at UCLA, if I remember correctly. She knows a thing or two about basketball. She's also a businesswoman. I believe she's a licensed therapist as well, if I remember correctly. So this is an accomplished woman and a sensational woman by all accounts. And I think everybody should look at her and be proud that she would stand up for her man the way that she did. I know that any woman that's in my life, I would want them to stand up for me. So I applaud her for that. And that's all I have to say in regards to what she had to say about me, because she is no fan of mine. And based on my comments yesterday, I don't blame her. Having said all of that, respectfully, it does not matter to me. I stand by everything that I said yesterday. And what I would ask her, and I would ask Russell Westbrook, I would ask friends of Russell Westbrook's, teammates, contemporaries of Russell Westbrook, people in the NBA community or whatever, I would ask everybody to go back and look specifically at what I've said about Russell Westbrook, not just yesterday, but his track record. What did I say about his track record? This is a sensational athlete, the most athletic point guard in the history of basketball, destined for the Hall of Fame. I said all of those things. But you've come up short. You were with Kevin Durant when you had a 3-1 lead. And you lost it to Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors being up 3-1. Kevin Durant departs. We got on Kevin Durant for leaving you high and dry. The next 3 years, you get bounced out in 5 by James Harden in Houston. You get bounced out in 6, if I remember, by Donovan Mitchell. You get bounced out in 6 by Damian Lillard, who not only dropped 50, but waved goodbye to you after hitting that long 3 over Paul George. That's what happened. Then you go to Houston last year. And what happens? You fall in the playoffs, albeit to the Lakers. That's what transpired. And now you're in Washington, D.C. with Bradley Beal, as your somebody turned down because they got an echo in my ear. I'm sorry. But now you're teammates with Bradley Beal in Washington, D.C. You're 13 games under 500, and everybody wants to talk about your numbers. What I was saying, Mrs. Russell Westbrook, along with Mr. Russell Westbrook, is that you've been so phenomenal with the numbers. We don't care anymore about the numbers. We know what you can do. You won a league MVP, averaging a triple-double. The first time that was done since Oscar Robertson did it in 1962. You're averaging a triple-double now. That particular season you won league MVP, you registered like 42 triple-doubles in a season. We know what you can do with the numbers. What about the chip? What about the championship? Because you've been to 4 conference finals. Now, if this was Zion Williamson, we praising the numbers. If it was Luka, we praising the numbers. If it was somebody that never was on a championship caliber team, we gonna praise the numbers and lament the fact that he's got to carry this shoulder all by himself. That is not Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a man that signed a 5-year, $206 million contract. Russell Westbrook is making generational money, as he pointed out last night. Russell Westbrook is averaging over $41 million a year. And championships don't matter? Really? That's not the culture of basketball I come from. When I think about the culture of basketball, and I think about champions, and I think about those striving for championships, every single Hall of Famer, watch them give their speeches, Freddie, Molly. What do they say? They apologize to their families and friends and loved ones because of their fixation on capturing a chip and the sacrifices they made in pursuit of that level of excellence and greatness. Russell Westbrook makes his money because fans patronize the NBA product, because television networks respond to the fans' insatiable appetite for that product, and they pay the league an exorbitant amount of money, which enables the league to pay the players. You don't do it so somebody could sit back and say, championships don't matter. I'm a champion in life. Who said you weren't? Russell Westbrook from Long Beach, California. Russell Westbrook's from the streets of L.A. and Long Beach and beyond. Russell Westbrook is as real, as authentic as they get. He gives to his community. He cares about his people. He addresses social justice issues. He gives voices to the voiceless. He's charitable. He's philanthropic. He's by all accounts, a great man, a great leader, a great husband, a great father, a great family man. Russell Westbrook, regardless of his mean and acerbic demeanor at times, is one of the best people, the most real, straight up, authentic people you will ever see in your life. I respect the hell out of the man. What does that have to do with your game? Damian Lillard sent you home. Donovan Mitchell sent you home. James Harden sent you home. All along the way, and Kevin Durant left. In your career, you have had Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, James Harden again, and now Bradley Beal. And we want to celebrate triple doubles 40-plus games into a regular season. When it comes to you, no. You're great. You're so great, we want to see more when it matters. And me saying that is not an indictment against your character. And it doesn't require a soliloquy about generational wealth and a lesson about how all of these folks, these commentators, go on the TV screens and they critique these players and they alter their lives. Let me give Russell Westbrook and all the players and all the athletes out there an education. When you talk about champions, I'm from the streets too. And I couldn't shine your shoes as a player. But I've been successful as a writer, as a radio host, as a television personality, soon to be author. I'm owning my production company. I'm doing just fine. But if I sat up there and I said, you know what, Dave Roberts And Molly, you can confirm this. Freddie, you can confirm this. Dave Roberts is our boss. Senior VP, extraordinaire, ESPN. Norby Williamson, Executive VP, ESPN. Jimmy Pitaro, President, ESPN. Imagine if I came on television, especially after I got my contract, Molly, as you pointed out. Our ratings don't matter. Revenue doesn't matter. It's not important. What's important is that I'm making this money, and you know what? I get to take care of my family and create wealth and contribute to our community. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What does that have to do with you having a successful television show that we're paying you to have? You have to produce for us first. And the reality of the situation is that when you're out there competing, it's not about being negative about a play or anything like that. It's about looking at the league and the contemporaries within the league, understanding that there's only a select few spots for people, and you judge each individual accordingly, because every single year, every single month, every single week, there could be a new body there because everybody wants it, but it's only reserved for a select few. So as people who chronicle the sport, we look at it and say, okay, since we're chronicling it, we have to talk about those who are successful and why, and those who are not. And the fact of the matter is, Russell Westbrook is sensational. But in the end, his three-point shooting and lack of a perimeter shooting game, I believe, has served as an impediment to him capturing a championship I and so many others believe he richly deserves and desperately want for him. I don't believe that requires him, his family, or anybody else to come at me as if I'm excoriating the guy. We're talking basketball. Can I talk basketball? That's all I was doing. And for every critique or bite or soundbite that they could find of me saying something negative about Russell Westbrook, I can come up with 20 soundbites of me raving about him. And anybody that doubts that, name the time and place and I'll show up. Because I have always praised him when he has been worthy. That's what I have to say.
Well, number one, you're beautiful and you're angry. So that's number one when it comes to that Stephen A. Smith. So I appreciate what you're talking about in terms of Russell Westbrook, but here's the deal. No matter what he does, people are never going to be satisfied. And that goes for you, that goes for plenty of other people, because like you said, you're expecting more from a guy in Russell Westbrook that has that kind of ability. But here's the reality of the situation. Not so much what you had to say about Russell Westbrook, but the reality when it comes to Russell Westbrook. Sometimes it's just not in the cards for you. And that's something that Russell Westbrook is wrestling with, the fans of Russell Westbrook. And I'm a huge Russell Westbrook supporter. But to your point, he has that lack of a deficiency when it comes to making three-point shots or delivering in those clutch kind of moments. In other words, Russell Westbrook is the same guy as James Harden. Both of those guys have come up short in critical situations, especially in the playoffs. But through their own greatness, people are looking at them and saying, why have you not been able to do more? Why have you not been able to raise your basketball team to that standpoint? It's a fair assessment to make with Russell Westbrook. But I'm never going to come at him that way, because we all have to realize this, and I know we want things the way we want it. It is extremely, extremely hard to win any kind of championship. You could be the greatest player known to mankind, but sometimes it's just not in the cards for you. Sometimes you are born at the wrong time. Russell Westbrook happens to be born during the same era as a Steph Curry, as a LeBron James, as a Kyrie Irving, on the back end of a Kobe Bryant, on the back end of a Shaquille O'Neal, and people are going to look at them and him and say, well, those guys won. What is your problem? It's not a Russell Westbrook problem. It's a problem that people have when they see greatness and they automatically assume that should lead to an NBA championship. The sports streets are littered with guys that were great but never won a championship. Dan Marino, Dan Fouts, Warren Moon, plenty of guys like that never won a championship. We place a premium on Russell Westbrook because we see those numbers and we say, why can't we qualify that to winning a championship? It's not all his fault. That's not just defending him. That's just stating what it is. So if I'm Russell Westbrook and I have never given up on my team and I'm putting up numbers, Freddie, and Stephen A. Smith comes at me, then you know I'm going to come back at him. So I clearly understand why he did that. That doesn't say that you're wrong, Stephen A. Smith, but Russell Westbrook letting everybody know, I'm not going to stand for it because even though I've not won a championship, I have not given up on situations. So back up off of me and don't just throw numbers in my face.
But Freddie, doesn't he have an obligation to listen to the argument that was made? No one said he didn't work hard. No one said he doesn't want competition. Nobody said that he can't play or anything like that. What you pointed out is that you've been going home early despite the expectations, and maybe, just maybe, if your perimeter game was better, something you've had more than a decade to work on, you would have more success. We can disagree about that, meaning Russell Westbrook and I, but that was a basketball analysis that I provided. For him and Mrs. Westbrook, who obviously I respect, to come at me as if we were castigating him, that's just not true. And listen, years ago when they were in the finals, y'all, I said something very critical alongside Magic Johnson about Russell Westbrook's performance in an NBA Finals game when he had dropped over 40. His dad came up to me and said, I respect the hell out of you. I hear where you're coming from. Please don't ever speak that way about my son again. This is how you came across, Stephen A. I apologized to his dad on the spot and said, sir, I didn't realize that. That will never happen again. And I've never done it again because that's how much respect I have for Russell Westbrook. So what I'm saying is that Freddie, that's like somebody coming at you and you saying, look, man, the guy ain't getting it done. I love him. His game is beautiful. He needs to work on this, but overall his game is beautiful, but he ain't getting it done. And that's a license for them to have to give a diatribe about generational wealth and the negativity of the media. And I'm talking basketball. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong
what we're doing.
That's nothing wrong with you talking basketball.
Let me get in here really quickly. Yep. Yeah.